Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Over a Couple of Beers. My name is Jason Cercone. I'm joined by Jason Collins, as always.
Howdy.
And we've got a great lineup of people with you tonight. This is a very special episode for us.
Our specialist episode.
It is our specialist episode in the fact that we're making up words that don't even exist. This is episode 10 for us, and I'm very honored to be joined by Matt and Asa from the Brew Gentlemen. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hello.
And we also have our very special guests in town, Chip Hiden and Alexis Irvin, the creators of the Blood, Sweat, and Beer movie that is premiering as we speak right now, right down the street at the Row House Cinema here in Pittsburgh. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much for having
That's perfect. And also our very special guest right now, we have Mayor of Braddock John Fetterman, who's also a very part of the movie. Welcome to the podcast, John.
Great to be here.
Great. And what we're going to do for you guys tonight is we really want to just talk about the movie, and I got the opportunity to see it when it world premiered down in D.C., and I loved it. It was great. It was so cool to see Pittsburgh represented in that fashion, and I've been friends with Matt and Asa here for a while, and what they've done to get their brewery off the ground is great. Before we get into talking with those guys and Chip and Alexis about the whole creation of the movie, I wanted to talk to John and just basically throw it out to you, because I know a big part of what these guys have done has been all about the revival of Braddock. So now that they've been in existence for about a year, tell us a little bit about how far they've come and what it's done in regards to the revival of Braddock.
Matt and Asa, I just
We'll figure it out.
really just couldn't be a bigger fan of Matt and Asa. Our relationship goes back several years when they were at Carnegie Mellon, and they approached me about wanting to open a brew house in Braddock, and I was like, oh, that's nice, just didn't, I'm like, okay, because honestly, it really wasn't fully within the realm of my, it was even feasible. And even then, I thought, I was like, well, they can brew their beer in Braddock and then serve it at a cool place like Atlas or whatever, and that's still a huge win for Braddock. But when their vision took shape, and you see the sheer volume of the people that come out there, and I get accosted in Whole Foods saying, he's a self-described quote unquote Seattle beer asshole snob, and it's like their beer is fabulous, it's the real deal, and I wanted to stop and tell you that, and these kind of anecdotes happen all the time, and as I said at the premiere, to be able to run your own business at 24 is impressive, or to brew really great beer at 24 is impressive. Yeah. But to do them both in a neighborhood with a lot of structural challenges, the way Braddock is still working through theirs is really inspiring. And they remind me of I guess I'm old enough to be their father at 45. It's shocking to say that.
It's funny, my dad's like...
Yeah, well, my dad was 20 years older when I had, so I was like, I'm the same. There's the same age gap basically between my father and me as between Matt and Asa. So there's a little bit of that angle there. So it's kind of like that pride that I have for them and how well that they do with everything and the numbers that they pull in with the food truck, roundup that they have once a month, 800 people, their garden party, last, Labor Day, like 1,500 people came out on a hot holiday weekend and came out and took in. So it's really inspiring. And their work ethic reminds me of mine, where it's like, I was the guy in the dumpster, loading it up. I was the guy doing what I needed to do in town for different projects, and I really just admire that, and they're a real inspiration, and they are an engine, and they are I guess I would say it's a harbinger and proof of life. I would describe it, that you can have a thriving business, a quality of life establishment in Braddock and do well.
It's awesome.
Yeah, if you guys want to chime in and talk about what all the great things John just said and how you feel about that.
I mean, I think that when you're in an area, like Braddock, when you're in an area that's not necessarily super well off, you can kind of attack revitalization from two different angles. You can either go the route of creating an amenity and making something that fulfills a need that is not being met, or you can, do something outside of that pulls other people in. So for us right now, Braddock is an area that Pittsburgh, I think as a whole, kind of writes off in a lot of ways sometimes. The idea that Braddock is a rough area is something that we hear a lot. When we tell people come down to the tap room, we hear people saying, am I going to be safe?
You're right.
And that's something that we feel needs to be corrected. And that's one of the things that we've really taken upon ourselves, is to say, hey, when you come down to our tap room, that's like a good experience. You can have that in Braddock and not, be nervous that it's a bad place.
Yeah, I mean, and I can speak from experience of coming down to visit the tap room from the very first time I was there, and the many, many times that I've been back since. I've never had that fear of are my wheels going to be gone off my car? Is my car going to be sitting on brakes? Like, that was never a part of it.
Yeah.
You kind of get encapsulated in what you guys have created in regards to your tap room setting, and that's what really, I think, sets you apart.
The reality is also that Braddock really is a safe and welcoming community.
Absolutely.
It really
Absolutely.
is.
We've been living there for 2 years. And we've
Yeah,
felt
well, it's threadbare. It's worn. It's been through a lot. I mean, and I think that kind of creates its own atmosphere in some instances. But at the end of the day, it's an incredibly safe and welcoming place. And it's not unlike Butler Street. I keep boring people with the anecdotes how I lived here 15 years ago, and I can't get over what Butler Street looks like now. And I'm not suggesting Braddock's going to look like Butler Street anytime soon. But the point of the matter is that neighborhoods that people, some people write off are the ones 10 years from now are the ones that it's like it's the place to be. And more so in Braddock than any other gentrifying neighborhood. Braddock isn't a gentrifying play. It's a community that has lost 90% of its population and has been through this incredible economic upheaval. So this isn't about creating something funky. This is about pure economic development and giving people an opportunity to come out and experience a community that in some cases they wouldn't have had a reason to or may have been leery of doing.
Absolutely.
Let me point out this is a big part of the documentary as well. Is what John is talking about is the building up of Braddock and as a community over and these guys are a huge part of that. Right now, as we're doing this podcast, the movie is playing for all the first timers right now. We got the opportunity and the pleasure of watching this beforehand, and what he's talking about is very much a part of this documentary. So if you are a Pittsburgher and you want to see something that's really happening good in one of the suburbs of Pittsburgh, please watch this documentary, because this is a huge part of it. And these two young guys who I'm very envious of, because you and I went to college together, and back when we did this, craft beer wasn't what it was, but I got to know that if it was, I see this is what we would have done. We would have done what we're doing. This
Probably
is awesome.
not as successfully, but we would have tried.
Oh, probably not. No, because we were in the sticks.
Timing was good for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were in the sticks, but what they're doing for this community is actually amazing. And
it's also refreshing too, and I don't mean the beer. The beer is refreshing, but it's just nice to see people making shit. Like not another goddamn app for their iPhone or whatever coming out of Carnegie Mellon. It's just like
BCBN.
BCBN mobile. What the hell is
oh,
that?
you know what I'm saying? It's just like it's like two really bright kids coming out of Carnegie Mellon, making beer. I mean, it's
bright kids coming out of Carnegie Mellon.
It's a great
No,
thing.
what surprises you more is a brick and mortar coming out of Carnegie Mellon.
There it is.
Brick and
There
mortar,
it is.
I have a cousin who works. He's been working at Facebook since 2006, and I'm like, I wish I had stock options, but it's like there needs to be more young people that.
No, I mean, you said that in the movie too.
Yeah.
We're a country that's just not making shit anymore.
Well,
We
and
need to be a
especially
good
places like Braddock.
absolutely.
Yeah, Andrew Carnegie got his start in that community, and Google is the toast of the town now in Pittsburgh. But people have to remember, they were, Google is in Pittsburgh because of Carnegie Mellon Software Institute, best in the world. And what's really cool is that Carnegie Mellon brought Matt and Asa to the Pittsburgh area,
right.
And it's like closing the circle. It's like Andrew Carnegie brought Matt and Asa back to where he got it all started, and it's really
it's very profound.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get overly zen here, because especially since I have to be leaving. But it really is a great story, and I'm just so glad that it was captured so eloquently on film. But we also have a babysitter issue going, so I just we have to.
Well, that's why we let out with you.
Exactly. But it's been really a pleasure to be a part of this. So thank you, and
Mayor Fetterman, we thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, to follow up on that, I mean, one other thing that's been so rewarding about the process as a whole has been just the response from the local community, the people in town who have been in Braddock and kind of seen what has happened from the 90s till now, or even before then, the 80s, and all, with the 70s weren't too hot either. I mean, basically, the people that have been in town for a while and have seen
pretty
the collapse.
much anything, by the way.
Yeah, to see the collapse of the industry, and then the amount of people that have come up to us and have said thank you. Thank you for picking Braddock and being here and putting your business here. We really appreciate it. And the food trucks will echo that same sentiment. Like people, their customers come up to them and say, thank you for bringing food down here. You don't have to do this. We know this. But we appreciate the fact that you come down here. And, I mean, until Kevin Sousa opens his restaurant, there really isn't a place in Braddock to eat. And the fact that we have a food truck there every single night and folks are coming down and enjoying that, and then it's also a place for the locals to come and eat and stuff, it's huge. And that's probably been one of the most rewarding things about starting in Braddock.
Did you realize you were going to be a beacon for this community, or
not the way that it's turned out so far. I mean,
as I said, I think that for us, part of the big thing that we wanted to do early on was not necessarily provide an amenity for the town's people, but to kind of do the foundation work of getting everyone else in the Pittsburgh area to know that Braddock is not necessarily a rough area.
Sure.
So for us, being able to then, on top of that, go and bring the food trucks into town and let them be in an area that is otherwise a food desert. That's kind of a secondary.
So, and to go back to what Matt was saying, Sousa he's opening a restaurant.
Yeah. Right? Kevin will be opening up a restaurant, Superior Motors.
Salt of the Earth.
Yeah, so Kevin did,
no kidding.
did Salt, Union Pig and Chicken, Station Street Hot Dog. He recently, Station Street's lease ran out, and he transferred Union's ownership over to his employees. Salt, he also ended up selling his share in.
Oh, no kidding.
And really,
I didn't even know that. That's
awesome.
So all of his other endeavors, he's focused down to Braddock now.
This goes into, in the documentary, the gentleman who is now the governor of Colorado?
Hickenlooper. Right?
Yeah, right. He opened a place in the middle of...
It was almost
right, it's Braddock. He opened a place in Braddock,
yeah.
and then a restaurateur said, well, if he can make money here, I can make money here. And then it starts going. So,
circle of life.
You guys probably realize this, but don't realize this. You guys are starting something real big in this town, and I think it's really awesome.
Yeah.
I really do. Because to have Kevin Sousa, who's very well known, not even just in Pittsburgh, to have him start considering this area for what he might want to do in the future is a big step, and it can't be just because he wanted to do it. It has to be because you guys did this.
Yeah.
And now it's like we're going to take this going forward.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and it's great to see, and even the food trucks that come down on a weekly basis, multiples of them have approached us and said, what about a brick and mortar down here where we start something down here, and we still show up to the brewery on Friday night, but we also have something down here. Yeah. And the fact that, we have that, and we've been approached by people who want to start like a coffee roastery downtown, and we've kind of become used to people saying, "Oh, I have this idea. I want to do it down in Braddock because it's cheap rent and all this." And that's not how that works. It's you've got to put in sweat equity and all that goes along with starting a business. It's not just what rent costs, but sifting through some of the BS that we see. There's the next wave of people who are very serious in investing and being part of the revitalization of Braddock, and I mean it's great to see, and it's great to kind of be the one of the first movers. I mean, give John all the credit in the world. He was the person who made Braddock what it is. He's the one who got the thing sorted out, the press.
He has the tattoo on his arm.
He's got
it doesn't get any more. It doesn't drive the point anymore.
And he was the catalyst for us.
Yeah, and he was the catalyst for us too.
Yeah.
But being a more outward-facing business and something where we're attracting hundreds of people on a Friday night, and for our big events, thousands of people
who would have never otherwise been
exactly
down
right.
in Braddock,
been attracted to the Braddock area.
We're kind of seeing the next wave of folks who care to be a part of that revitalization, and really it's funny because it goes back to our early entrepreneurial classes where our professors thought we were crazy for putting Braddock in the loop with Lawrenceville and the Strip District, which is really funny because back when we were kind of coming up with the concept of the brewery, there weren't any breweries in Lawrenceville, and now there's 2 breweries in a tap room from breweries. There weren't any breweries in the Strip District, and now there's a brewery in the Strip District.
Yeah.
And we, that's where they said we should have done our thing, and yet we said, after looking at it all, we picked Braddock, and it's been so good to us. So it's really cool to see not only our early investment in the community pay off, but also seeing other interested parties join in.
It's awesome.
That's probably more rewarding than anything is that kind of movement of building it back up.
That's great.
That's very cool. So Chip and Alexis,
you guys
talk too much.
I was going to say you there's some questions that have to go to the producers and editors of this, this documentary.
So as we said at the onset of the podcast, we're joined by the producers of Blood, Sweat, and Beer, Chip and Alexis. Glad you guys could come on with us. I know I wrote a review about your movie once I saw it for the first time. I loved it. It was great. You guys are really doing some good stuff. I think it's going to be one of those things that as it catches on and keeps building momentum as it goes forward, you're going to start seeing it impact the craft beer industry as a whole. I think
Let's hope so.
I think that's where you guys are at right now. It's one of those things. It's almost like it's ready to boil over. It's ready to boil over. You're going to get there. Now, with the Pittsburgh premiere being tonight, what we want to find out from you guys, again, we came up with some questions we wanted to talk about just to. I'm sure you guys have been berated to death about all the great things that have come from the movie. What was the inspiration? But I mean, ultimately, we can ask. Matt took a timeout, so we'll throw it to all three of you right now. What was the what brought all of you guys together to feature the Brew Gentlemen in your movie? What was the big moment? Is that what it was?
Alexis and I are from the Washington, D.C. area, and we actually met these guys, Matt and Asa, at a Cicerone exam, which, if you're not familiar, a Cicerone is basically the beer equivalent of a wine sommelier, someone who is an expert in beer and is able to do crazy things like blind tastings and all that crazy stuff and detecting really subtle flavor notes. So we were filming a couple guys taking the Cicerone exam. We ran into these guys. They told us they're 22 years old at the time, I believe, starting a brewery, which first of all is crazy because you're 1 year over the legal drinking age. The youngest people we had ever met who were starting a brewery. That was already intriguing enough. A couple months later, we took the drove to Braddock to actually meet these guys, and driving into Braddock and just seeing the state of the community where Asa describes it really well in the film. He's very aesthetically minded. It's like kind of a beautiful ruin almost. Like it is, sort of run down, and there are a lot of rust, trees growing through old houses, a lot of abandoned buildings. But it is kind of weirdly beautiful. There's a lot of murals.
The rows that grow out of dirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we were very struck with the aesthetic of the place. And then once we met these guys and they told us, our mission is to use this brewery as a catalyst to kind of revitalize this area, that just grabbed onto us, and we knew that was a story that we had to tell.
That's awesome. So, when you guys were putting this whole idea together, what was the point where you realized that you wanted to do a craft beer documentary, and was your focus meant to be on two small breweries that, I mean, and we'll talk about Danny and Backshore and all the things that he's been dealing with, but was your focus to be on something like we want to put 2 small breweries in the line or in the spotlight of our show or of our movie, or was there just that kind of just happened by coincidence when you guys met at the Cicerone event?
No, so we started with this big idea of let's make a documentary about the craft beer industry. There's so much growth going on. So that was kind of the first idea as we're interviewing people. And as we kind of continued onwards with all of our interviewing,
Just making sure you sound good.
No, she's fine. It's good.
am I good?
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure.
Should I get
We
really
got echo in
close?
this room, just making that.
Okay,
making
so
that
Well,
point
Right
clear.
here.
if we're doing a sweaty balls sketch, yes, you should get really close.
Sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
No. So as we were going through, though, we kind of realized like all of the breweries that are really big and successful, there's not so much a story there. A story is going to be with the startup. You've got a dream. You're putting it all on the line. There's money that could potentially go awry, and you don't know what's going to happen. Is someone going to succeed or fail? Mm-hmm. So Danny was one of the very first interviews we did. We both said right away that we were going to keep interviewing with Danny, and then as we were going through, we kept looking for that next startup to follow, and then we met Matt and Asa.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So,
Actually, I have a really big question.
Okay.
It's ridiculous, but the Baptist style beer mass that happened in the documentary where the guy was was it Flying Dog? I
Flying
think.
Dog.
Yeah, it was Flying Dog.
Was that scripted or did that really happen?
How awesome would that be if that was real?
No, actually, thank God
Yeah.
that was not real.
That's one of their
his
promo
his
videos.
eye movement just to me struck a bad acting job. That's all.
That's not even that. The
Oh
guy,
yeah, no,
the guy
I
that was
love
doing
that
the
guy.
whole
I
thing.
love the guy.
No, that was
thing.
crazy. That
I was very disturbed.
But I think
by that.
it fits the whole theme of. I mean, it's a little tongue in cheek, but at the same time,
Yeah,
that's how
totally.
the whole craft beer movement has evolved.
Right, and that's why I was very confused by it because I could see that happen.
Yeah, that is a scripted thing.
I'm pretty sure
where-
that happened at parties we've had.
But
Right?
you see it.
But I actually, now that I know that it wasn't like this real thing. That
Hey guys, come down and film
I
this.
love,
It's really
no,
cool.
I love the idea. I love the whole idea of doing that as like this because it really is like craft beer has become this not only just like we drink craft, it's a way of life now. It's not just like this thing that some people do sometimes. I'm one of those people. I will not. He's eating the mic. Matt is eating the mic.
This is why we should videotape this shit.
No, we shouldn't because
Hot
I have a
juju.
mustache.
Hop juju is an
We'll talk
evil
about that.
thing.
I was going to work that in.
Well, you do see that kind of devotion where, like,
Of course.
that's what we were kind of
I'm that
trying
person.
to hint at. Yeah.
I don't know if I would do. I don't know if I let a snake bite me.
Yeah.
Just because but I will tell you right now that I will go to a friend's house, and if they have any crap beer there, I will not drink at all. Like I will sit there just miserable because they have Coors Light or Bud Light or Miller Lite, and I will not drink what they have.
Yeah.
So I've learned to take a 6-pack with me wherever I go.
There's definitely a couple really like striking people that we filmed with that illustrate that level of devotion that people have to craft beer. So a couple that stick out was we filmed a Pliny the Younger release, which is a really rare beer brewed in California, and people lined up around the corner where at one bar, I don't know how they found out about it, for about 4 hours to get a ticket to wait in line later to actually taste the beer. And we're going down this line saying, hey, like with our camera saying, can you tell us what you're doing here and why you're doing it? And people are saying, oh, don't film me, I'm supposed to be at work right now. So so people were skipping work to come get a beer, to get a ticket to get a beer later.
By the way,
which is-
I had to leave work early for this podcast.
There you go. See, I mean, it
There we
really
go.
is, like you're saying, it's a way of life.
Yes,
We film
it
with
is.
people.
You got a free ticket, so.
Yeah.
Regardless, I still left people hanging, and I would do it all over again for beer.
And I mean,
Thank you.
And
We
speaking of
appreciate
beer,
it.
not to get off subject, because our tradition on Over a Couple of Beers is that we do this podcast over a couple of beers. Tonight it's been over many beers. What are we all drinking tonight?
Oh,
ladies
we
and
started
gentlemen?
early. Well,
Started early. and I
We're
think-
all
so
drinking
I
the
think
same
we're all
thing.
into the hop juju right now, right?
There were chill waves.
There was chill waves involved. There
Which
was
are-
hop juju
There was
involved.
no chill wave for
There
me.
was some business
There were
casual
Brew Gentlemen
involved. I
beers
did. I mean,
involved.
I stayed loyal because I didn't. Listen, I'll be honest. I looked at the top of the list because I saw that's where your guy's beer was, and then he's like, "Dude, they have hop juju." Like, oh, well, I'll have that next.
Well, and I talked to many
casual.
people who were drinking the White Sky, but in industry also, I got to tell you, I had this beer. You may have had it. It's the Alltech Kentucky Rye IPA. It's
Oh yeah.
Holy crap! That's
You're
like
lying.
He's lying.
No, I know that company. They own a bunch of bourbon barrels, and they throw stuff in it, and they trick the consumer into believing that they're this bourbon barrel aged beer. And scene.
I was tricked. But here's the
I
thing.
was tricked.
And duped. We've been duped. So next question.
Well, they do have tech in their name, so that's probably a red flag.
Another startup.
But I will
Me and my
say
stupid
the
app.
beer that I had wasn't beer to me. It really was like a toned down bourbon.
Yeah.
It was like having a
sounds about
10% bourbon. It was delicious, but I tasted no beer in the beer.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. But I will say I liked it.
We like
but
having beer.
but it was different for me. But
Yeah.
I did like it though.
So looping it back to the movie, because that's what we're talking about tonight.
There's a movie?
There's a movie.
What movie?
So, just so that for the folks that are listening to the podcast that don't know about the other stars of the movie, Danny Robinson, who started what was called Shore Billy Brewing down in Ocean City, Maryland, was the other brewery featured in this movie. Again, another story that you'll get emotionally invested in just because you're just kind of sitting there going, what the hell is happening to this dude? It's just crazy. So now that, I mean, again, I'm not going to, no spoilers happening here, but now that they are past the lawsuit that's featured in the film, I wanted to ask you guys in regards to having contact with Danny since the movie came out and premiered, like what's been his story, what's he been dealing with, what's been going on with him?
Sure. So there's a couple of negatives and a couple of positives with Danny's story since we stopped filming. We'll start with the bad news. The bad news is that the company that was suing him has since appealed the judge's decision on his lawsuit. So again, I don't want to, spoiler territory, but the long and short of it is that this lawsuit is still going on, and win or lose, his lawyer's fees are still ticking. So he still is just running up this massive bill, which is incredibly difficult for any startup business, especially one, he's got literally 4 or 5 bar stools on the boardwalk, which is one of the highest rents of anywhere, any retail location in Ocean City. So that's the bad news. The good news is that he has actually started pioneering a new kind of beverage, which is a craft tea, or like a craft malted tea. So obviously, I guess technically it's in the same category as like a Smirnoff or something like that. But craft. And no one is, to my knowledge, I mean, maybe you guys know more, but I haven't seen too many people really sort of making a really good craft tea. So I don't know if you guys
Twisted Tea, Boston Lager.
Twisted Tea,
Yeah, I mean,
obviously, yeah.
Boston Beer Co. But
I think
that's
that's what you've got. I mean,
Yeah,
those are your
that's
options,
what you
I'd
have.
much rather have a
Danny Robinson.
And I'd rather support
Good,
Danny
right?
Robinson
Like,
any day of the
okay.
week
I'll
than
take
Twisted
that.
Tea.
Yeah, I'll take
Absolutely.
So from what we've heard, he's gotten a lot of interest from distributors, and for his market on the beach
sense,
is
totally.
very
Hell yeah.
good for a very sweet, sort of refreshing tea beverage. I can see it working really well in Ocean City,
Definitely.
and I really, God, I hope that takes off for him, because that would be so helpful for all the other mess that he's gone through in the last year.
Yeah, the documentary really points out some of the struggles that a craft beer entrepreneur has.
Mm-hmm.
And have you guys ever ran into any kind of legal issues or anything like that so far that may have hung you up in the process?
Legal issues, I mean, nothing outside of what a lot of people deal with, just the fact that it's paperwork.
licensing is crazy.
Yeah, licensing is crazy.
Just red tape.
Draconian.
No
and
licensing or trademarks or anything
I mean,
like that.
nothing of that sort, but also,
That's
like,
good.
we Google everything before
To
we
make sure that
before
you're-
we name a beer. We're like, hey, let's make sure no other brewery has the name. We go on Untapped. We check to make sure that someone didn't also name their beer like Hopped Up Rye or whatever.
That's one of the big
Absolutely
issues
have to do
nowadays.
these days.
That's
Yeah.
one of the big things.
And,
is trademarks are running out.
Right.
And I think one of the things that we really benefit from is ASA in-house does all our branding and all of our visual and design work, and
So you're a graphics guy too?
Yeah. So
me and you have a lot in common, sir.
So I don't have any formal background in graphic design
Me
necessarily.
either.
But,
I have Adobe everything, but
Yeah.
I was not trained.
Yeah,
I'm just
well,
happen to be good at it. Me and you together.
Yeah, just like straight lines.
It's one of the things you like to do, right?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, guys, what's going on with these mustaches?
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Matt does not have a mustache.
I do not have a mustache.
starting a mustache.
No,
He just
stop it.
He didn't
Yeah,
shave
you totally
today.
are.
I didn't shave for like 4 days because I was in
that what you-
Portland. I just got back from the Craft Brewers Conference, and the fact that you even acknowledge that though means I'm progressing, which means I'm growing up because this used to take 3 to 4 weeks to get here, and now it's 4 days.
His 5 o'clock shadow is a 5-day shadow.
Yeah, it 5 a week almost.
Is
So-
this the new look for you guys?
Yeah, he's got
So I guess
only hipsters drink craft beer, so he's got to have a
what's going on
mustache.
with my mustache.
Oh, I wanted to punch so many people in Portland. I'm gonna stop there before.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, how did you resist the urge to cut down trees with all those guys?
Just burn some tires, or dump some beers into the road, or
Drink a Bud Light.
Yeah, Ace
Hey,
Don't do that out there. You're dead.
when we do that here,
42% of the craft
That's a
market
good
in
point.
Portland.
So Ace is sporting the out of work porn star look. We want to know
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got
Not
going on?
around your children. Good thing this podcast is like at least 18 plus or 21.
I think it would be
plus,
21 plus, right?
Yeah, in theory, but we
17.
started a
Jason,
brewery
how old are
before
you?
We were, before
Don't
we
answer
were
that.
made,
No, I'm good.
So I'm not gonna.
We're all 21 here, right?
Yeah, let's not try to
Good
pretend.
bet.
been there
I
once
like
or
her
twice.
style.
Yeah.
I like her style.
This is not a world exclusive to those above the age of 21.
No.
However, to answer your question, the reason that I have a goofy mustache is because of our fraternity. And
He's one of those
currently-
guys.
Frat thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, yeah. So
just kidding.
Matt and I are
kidding.
fraternity brothers.
What's your frat?
SE.
It's fraternity. You wouldn't call your country a cunt.
Ooh.
Isn't there an O in country? No. I guess have to
Not
have that
if you omit
explicit
the
one.
other chunk. But
So,
so,
hey, by the way, you just had the C word on your podcast.
Yes, we did. ladies and gentlemen.
and that's a milestone right
Yes,
there.
it is.
It's a bad word.
We swore.
It's a great word.
Well, you bring kids on your show.
It's a great
No,
word.
I love it.
Hey, you bring kids
No,
in-
I told you. Listen, all right, guys. I'll be honest. We've evolved in 10 episodes, and we're going in directions that a lot of podcasts in Pittsburgh aren't. At this point, I don't give a shit. We're rolling.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about.
This is what I told
This
you
is
from the
this is
beginning.
what
it needs to be. We need to be
I wanted.
Yeah, but listen. Okay, I know. I'm not
Hey,
gonna be the
we're gonna
first
have people
drop
filming
on-
live from the Cricket Lounge.
Right. We're gonna have people come on our podcast and drink beer. Oh, so they're not gonna swear or be awful at times?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that's
all
what
right.
we're, that's
I
what we're
let
shooting
down the guard.
for.
Episode 3, we had the guys from Grist House on.
Guys.
We're dropping shit. Fuck my. You know, it's whatever.
I need to interrupt one more time. Okay, what time did the movie start playing?
It was
Like
after
almost
8:30.
8. It was close to 8.
Okay.
It's
You
8.
got 73 minutes.
We are 33
We'll
minutes
get
into the
you
podcast.
guys. All right, it's
But
8.
Matt, we do not
Yeah,
want
it's
to
8:34 now.
Oh,
We'll get
that's
you
right.
back down there before 9 o'clock, and you guys will be safe. You know
Okay,
what? Honestly,
so real
if they have
quickly-
to wait, they have to wait.
Real quickly-
this is a lot of fun.
Real quickly, I had a couple.
I'm
I'm very
having.
glad we're avoiding.
I'm
this
having no.
conversation.
Wait.
Yeah, we really diverted off that. Honestly, I wanted to bring it back to the movie again
Okay, so
because
you're
the movie is.
fraternity
the movie's
is
good.
Like a mustache drawing.
Well, this is what happens when you drink heavily before a podcast.
This is what we should do before
grow
every podcast.
mustaches.
I told you that from the beginning.
We usually
So
drink during the
anyway, all right.
podcast.
Going back to the podcast on a lighter note. Here's a few questions I had because I know his were a lot of technical stuff. Mine were more directed toward kind of the weird things, like the term crafty beer was brought up in this documentary, which is the first time I've ever heard this. And you just said this in the all tech thing. It's a great term for like massive beer companies trying to pop into this thing,
Masquerade,
and they're crafty,
Yeah,
beer, which
masquerading
means
as a craft beer.
sneaky or just like backhanded. We're gonna throw this in there, which leads into the Wild Blue versus Flying Dog art
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen yet. I mean, you look at there's been 12 deals in the last 15 months.
oh, they're going crazy.
Anheuser-Busch now owns 10 Barrel. They own Elysian. They own Blue Point. You look at they own Goose. You look at what the guy from Harpoon just did, and he started the Good Beer LLC, where they acquired Abita. And
we just had this on our last podcast
last week.
yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
He's a hero in the craft beer.
is he though? I mean, who knows?
He
might
might
be,
be. Well,
or
could be.
he might.
Yeah, I mean,
he might be, or he might not be. I mean,
His
we don't.
idea is.
His idea is genuine at first. I mean, didn't everyone think that AB acquiring Goose Island was a good thing at first? We don't
never
know
thought that.
what's going to happen yet. And that's the one scary thing we're kind of at. I mean, we're at over 12,000 SKUs in a supermarket. How can you even manage that kind of volume? And then
That's
you look
true.
at like who's going to own those spaces. And Kroger's just gave a huge talk at CBC. Sorry, I just came back from CBC, so I like have all this like
He's
fresh in the
passionate
mag.
about it.
Yeah, I'm on hella-
You're
I mean,
yelling at me, sir.
We once spent 40 minutes talking about wrestling on this effing podcast. So I love the fact that you've got some good beer knowledge.
But like
I love passion,
you
brother.
look
I
at
like
what
hearing
Christ,
you look at
continue,
what
sir.
you look at what Kroger's doing, and they're saying that like it's going to happen, but it's going to happen eventually because they still who has the money to vote and make those decisions? It's still Anheuser-Busch.
yeah.
It's still the distributor. The distributors are still answering to the king of beers.
The big money people can step in and say to the guy from Harpoon,
Like I caught the 28X to here. I didn't have a private jet fly me from Portland to Pittsburgh. Like that's like not.
there's no jet that says
Yeah,
Brew Gentlemen on
like
the side?
there's no jet from Portland to Lawrence.
Well, you haven't made it yet, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I mean, there's so many things going on in this industry right now that you kind of just have to. There's been waves, and we're in a really weird spot right now in that the guys who were the trailblazers. You look at Sierra Nevada, you look at Boston Beer, you look at these companies. They're killing it. Ken Grossman's technically a billionaire at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the next wave of people. You look at the Dogfish Head, the Founders, the Stone. These guys, 4 out of the top 8 brands have private equity invested in them. What's going to happen in the next few years? What's going to happen with these crafty brands?
You know what kind of pressure
What kind of pressure are you going to get? I mean, honestly, the joke this year was that the blood's in the water. Where are the sharks at Craft Brewers Conference? Because just as many brewers were there. I mean, there was private equity firms there. There were bankers there. There were people there who were interested because people are making money on the industry now.
You guys are way farther in than I am, obviously. But I look at those brands like Stone and Dogfish Head and Lagunitas and some of these bigger brands that are out there, and I can't imagine them selling out. I can't imagine them selling out to AB or Miller Coors. I can't imagine. It may happen. It may be crazy, but to me, they are the chief opposition to what they represent and what they're doing, and I just don't know how their view and their position and their power is going to affect the way that they're just kind of gobbling up companies. I remember the first one I heard about was, I think Anheuser-Busch gobbled up Michigan Brewing Company, who had, I know pumpkin beers is it's passe at this point, but they had Screaming Pumpkin at that point. Well, they had Screaming
pumpkin beer.
Right, I still love pumpkin beers if they're really good, like Southern Tier's.
I just
pumpkin
don't want them in March.
Right.
Yeah. It's a year-round thing now. But it is. I mean, that's the world we're living in.
Absolutely.
It's a thing.
It's every retail thing. We got to get out sooner. But I can't imagine. They gobbled them up. Hey, great pumpkin beer. I can't imagine some of these bigger brewing companies selling out to that at this point, because it's such a.
But it's happening. You say that,
Well,
but it's
no,
not.
You're right.
No, I mean,
Elysian are bastards.
Well, that's it.
No, with the Elysian-
That's in when Elysian sold out.
We got to drop the C word again. Elysian are cunts.
Please,
No,
let's
but
not.
it's so okay. So hold on, everyone.
The fact that
Listen.
we can now swear on the air is awesome, but
If anybody
Can't
dropped
step
$50
down.
million in front of my face, I would take it in a minute.
Well, that's the thing is like you bring it back in and you look at what happened is Dick Cantwell
Yeah, he
already
just
stepped down.
He just said, I'm
He
not gonna be a
said
part of
no
this thing.
because there's so many. Like I said, there's waves, and the wave we're in right now is very, very weird because there's a lot of private equity, which honestly, like we have a CMU background. A lot of the people that like were our quote unquote mentors early on forced us upon that industry, and we said that's not where craft should get its money from because these people want to see hockey stick curve growth, 30x return, 4.5 times EBITDA. Like they want those bullshit numbers that like. I understand that's business and all, but at the same time, this is craft beer. And we're slowly, if these things continue to happen, we're going to lose the soul of what makes craft beer craft beer. And, right before CBC, Sam Calagione came out with a video where he said, CBC is not about making deals. It's not the craft bankers conference. It's the craft brewers conference. Right. We're here to hang out with each other. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk to our distributors. Yeah, we're here to talk with our suppliers. We're here to have fun and be with each other. And it's weird because money is being made in the craft beer industry, and the money that is being made is at the expense of the big guys. So
sure, fuck them.
Who's going to come in and scoop that up and you know,
they'll fall.
It's interesting. But it's really interesting right now.
And one of the other questions I had was about the craft beer bubble, and I think
there's no bubble.
Well, but there may be. With what you're saying is the ones that are weak, the ones that are willing, the ones that are going to do it are going to sell out to the big companies, and they're going to and then but the cream of the crop is going to rise to the top and say we don't need them, we don't want them, we're not going to sell.
There's no bubble. There's going to be people who close because they don't fucking care. They don't.
Same thing.
They don't believe in craft as an industry.
I don't think it's the same thing.
Look at but look at Elysian. Elysian has some great beers, man.
No, Dick Cantwell is one of the founding. Like he wrote How to Start a Brewery, and he was signing copies of it.
I understand that, but they still sold out. They still sold out.
You know, you and I mean, you guys are in the industry. We're outsiders. We do this as we do.
I'm looking at it from the outside, man.
But what I'm saying
still
is
sold
we
out.
don't know all the internal numbers, and they probably weighed out the pros and cons of do we continue to produce beer versus do we sell to a major distributor / the biggest brewery in the world.
So did the Goose Island guys not care?
Well, that's actually what I was just about to say. Is there were a lot of Goose Island guys who did end up leaving the company over that acquisition.
Sure.
And,
some of that's going to happen, man. And actually, I almost welcome it.
Who did stay?
But also at the same time, like, who's upset about Boulevard?
Nobody.
They got acquired by the same guys that own Omegang.
10 Barrels.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that. Yeah. Cigar City was put up on the block too, and they said.
I mean, does anyone realize that founders sold 30% of their company? Like,
well, you guys had I mean, that's a part of the document. Terrapin's owned by Miller Coors, a small.
Most people don't know this. Most people don't know this.
Yeah, so I mean, that's. And that happens, but I think, when we really get lost in this whole sellout thing, and it's just a part of corporate America that you look at all these small businesses getting bought out. Well, what it really comes down to is
we all have this just a kind of a nonsensical fetish for authenticity.
Yeah,
and I
think that's at the core of craft beer for sure.
I think we encountered a lot of backlash at the beginning because we were not guys that got into the business because we were overzealous home brewers. Mm-hmm. Matt and I did not brew a batch of beer before we decided we wanted to start a brewing company.
Yeah,
and that really irks a lot of people, especially guys. And I say guys because it's predominantly men who have been brewing at home for a long time and feel like they're just doing it to make money and I don't.
Yeah, but so what?
Yeah, but even if that was the case,
America. It's capitalism at its best.
Take
you can make money.
Goose Island beer, even if it's made by people who are owned by Budweiser, if that's a good beer. And I'm not going to be drinking.
I'm actually.
And that's
bringing back to the bubble point that you guys say. The bubble is not big beer versus small beer versus all that. It's well-made beer versus people who are getting
more
into
well-made beer.
Yeah,
but do you agree? There's going to be a point where the nano brewery swell gets to a point where it pops and a lot of the cream will rise to the top and the rest will fall.
Okay, well you say
or become gobbled up or employed by the other ones that are.
Well, you say nano, and like nano, you go to a market like Portland, and there's a brewery on every block.
Sure.
We will get back to that. I mean, even in craft beer cities that aren't crazy. You look at what's going on in Portland. You have people like Deschutes, and you have people like 10 Barrel, and you have these big. Like Goliaths in the industry doing their thing, and then you have the guys that just are on the corner, and if they make good beer, people are going to show up and drink that. Sure. And then you go to San Diego, and you have Stone, you have Ballast Point, you have Modern Times, you have all these other companies doing big things, and then you go to places like Florida,
Cigar City. That's
You have Cigar City,
There are
and
lots of great breweries in Florida. We talked to many.
but they have a hard time because they can't even
Florida.
sell growlers
By
in
the way,
Florida.
we got these producers of this great movie on our podcast that are just hanging out drinking beer with us.
Yeah, they've been very, very quiet
Guys,
during all
can I do a
this.
popcorn question? Everyone has to answer. You cannot skip.
Okay.
And then we have to leave and go back to the end. All right, so you have to answer. You're drinking a mass-produced big beer.
Yes.
What is it going to be? I'll start.
Go.
Coors Light.
Coors Light. Good.
Oh my god!
Shock Top because it was $5 at my college for a pitcher of Shock Top.
Beautiful.
Good deal.
Totally fine.
Amberbach.
Damn it! God damn it! That was gonna be. All right, now I gotta think again.
Old German.
Cocoa Brown because I drank it at Kona Brewing before it was mass produced, and it's fucking delicious.
Fair.
Yeah, it's a
I know, you
coconut
gotta
brown
bring it
ale. It's delicious.
Cheat answer. Cheat answer.
You grew up in Hawaii. You can't
Bud
even
Miller
answer this
Coors,
question.
what are you choosing?
Oh, are we looking at those guys?
This is hard-hitting journalism.
All right,
That was good.
All right, I'll go Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Oh my god!
You took mine.
What's wrong with you, sir?
What's wrong with you? You took my answer.
Valentine IPA.
Because Amberbach is drinkable.
I know. Well, Pabst Blue Ribbon can be drinkable.
No, it's not ever.
Said me tonight, and no one else.
Well,
ever.
we are in the hipster capital
So
of
all right, no,
Pittsburgh.
well
so
before
yes.
I well no before
Pabst
I
Blue
all right,
Ribbon,
well to tie this back to you guys, did you have to go down to the theater? Is that what's happening?
Yeah,
How much time do we have?
we're at 45 minutes, and it's 8:47. I
Did
don't
you
know
get a
what time.
text? I mean, I just want to make sure. I mean, we're at 8:47 in regards to time, so you probably got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So all right, well, let me. All right, let's wrap this.
What
up,
do you
guys,
wanna
'cause I-
do?
All right, so
do you wanna do?
I want them to be more involved. They've been sitting here.
Yeah,
hanging
they've
out,
been kinda
listening to us
quiet
talk
during
about
this
all
whole
this cool
thing.
stuff in
We're
Pittsburgh.
just listening to
We're the
everything you guys
document-
are
All
we're
right,
the
so,
documentarians.
honestly, I mean,
We
so-
apologize for our
I'll-
for our
all right,
overzealous
we'll get into the
bullshit.
plugs after this is over.
We'll
So,
blame it all on
honestly,
John Fetterman.
The mayor.
I didn't say that. He's not
going
going to come beat the hell out of me at some point, is he?
Oh man,
I will make you
that's a
hurt.
spear
Oh,
time
my
waiting
God.
to happen.
Oh my
All
god,
right,
he should
so
be in
we're-
WWE.
all right, like I
It's all-
said, March 1st was the world premiere down in Washington D.C.
Thank
know
you for
these
coming.
Guys, I had a blast. You guys were down there pouring beer. That was a great
was
time all
awesome,
around. The Blue
for
Jacket
sure.
Brewery tour afterwards was an awesome time. So it's been a month and a half now. I know you guys have been traveling countrywide, spreading this movie around to everybody. Tell us a little bit about the success of that and where you feel it's going to go from here.
Okay, so after DC, we went to Atlanta Film Festival. We had a sold-out crowd. All of these like super serious film people came up to us because we were the beer documentary, so we were kind of like the fun people there. And all the other documentaries were like social justice issues or international.
That
All
sucks.
these people
Boring.
came up. No. All
They
these
were
people
great.
came up to us afterwards and were like, "We just cried in your beer documentary. Why was that happening?"
2 words.
Because Matt
What are my 2
cried.
words?
It's because Matt cried.
Matt gets
Emotional
everybody.
investment.
Yeah,
I told
totally.
that.
That's what I said.
I told him that was the
Yeah,
best
totally
part of that
invested.
movie.
I said that in the review.
Yeah.
I knew these guys before I saw
People
the movie
really
and thought
are.
I had a good idea about what it took. I had no freaking idea what
Yep.
it took for those guys.
He's
to start.
famous for being a crier. God bless you, sir.
No, that
Love
was
it.
that was a
I
Love
think
it.
people just are very
Passion.
interested in what you
Yes.
guys did.
Which is
Passion.
Cool.
Because Matt is stoic Japanese businessman, and
Yes.
I am the heart of the sleeve motherfucker.
Right.
And meanwhile, I'm like stonewalling.
Yeah, you did good, man. You
Yeah.
kept it together.
Now
I fucking lost it. I tried.
It was
I
very-
tried
I
so
cried after
hard.
we talked to you. I
I-
still remember that because I was just like, "Oh my god, this is like so much going on."
I tried so hard.
You guys don't even know. We've literally watched your faces so
Yeah.
many times, and I've cried watching
we
you cry.
used to cry.
I've
like,
cried
every-
I mean,
hundreds of
about
times.
you
You crying
No, I mean,
watching
and
me
I-
cry. I'm
No, I
crying
mean, no,
right
I mean,
now.
that's the thing, though. When I first
crying.
No, I mean that's what. I mean,
Everyone's
I think
crying.
it was just the fact that I had that emotional investment in knowing you guys when we were watching that movie. I teared up at the end, like just knowing like what
Pussy.
it took to get to that point. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah,
I
no,
just-
one of our friends said it though so well when we were showing a rough cut. We asked just random people for notes, and our friend Kelly, who is here tonight, she was like, "Oh my god, it's just that feeling like you wanted something so badly, and then it happened."
Yeah.
and like that never happens.
Absolutely.
I mean, and
You
that
know,
We
it's-
haven't even started.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, that
Still
kind of
feel like we're
that
in
leads
the
me to the
tutorial.
question I wanted to ask because it's one of my favorite quotes, and I know you and I have had that conversation outside of the movie, but it
Yeah.
happened.
Whatever,
in
Nancy boy.
3. I guess I lost all credibility. In
Yeah,
comments.
totally done.
I know. Sorry, tears in my eyes.
You cry about it?
Question. So one time,
Saddlebags.
you guys, you started this brewery. And go fuck yourself. So, all right. 3 years it took to start a brewery.
Yeah.
That's what you guys invested in this.
Yeah. 18
Now you
months of
own and
renovation.
operate a brewery.
Yeah.
It's been a year almost.
Yes, it has.
You guys have made it a long way. Talk a little bit about the success. It's been a good ride, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a big... easy
Matt can't wait
can't wait
to grab the mic
Holy shit.
and go
All right,
Dennis
guys.
Leary on this shit.
All right, we're gonna skip
Chip and
back.
Alexis are going to sign off. I'll let you guys. Yeah. All right. So here's the deal, guys. They're going to sign off before we sign off, and you guys take
But
off.
they have to sign
Thank
off,
you
too.
so much for taking the time to sign.
We have to sign off,
They
too.
have to sign off too.
Well,
We
thank
will
you.
answer that question.
If you can
Thank
answer
you.
this question
Yeah,
real
I'll-
quick and
Thank
then
you.
roll
I've
it
got-
out. We'll
I've got-
wrap up.
I've got
And-
4 words.
And
Make beer,
and
sell beer.
That's not actually anything...
I've seen that on a Hallmark
getting
card
way
before.
too
That's
far
very
Totally
profound.
relating to
Too much
what our
hop
company
juice.
is about.
Yeah, like
No,
spit.
honestly, guys,
All right.
thank you so much for sitting down with us. I love you guys.
Absolutely,
This
yeah.
has been awesome. The movie's great. Just so you guys know, tonight's not the only night the movie's showing here in Pittsburgh. You can see it all throughout Craft Beer Week up till Thursday on the PCBM mobile app that John Fetterman basically tore me apart for having. There is a separate section for blood,
Don't
sweat, and
you
beer.
argue with him, sir.
And
All right.
He will
And-
snap your
no,
neck.
I will wrap up. Before we wrap up, I do thank him for coming on and taking a couple minutes to talk to us. But all of the additional screenings for Blood, Sweat, and Beer are on the PCBM mobile app. Check that out. If you haven't downloaded it yet, for God's sakes, what the hell are you waiting for? Just download the freaking app. I'm going to plug it every week.
Language.
And bloodsweatbeermovie.com. You can get 20% off
Oh.
with the code BeerMe.
Beer me.
Oh, beer.
And if you do that, that really helps us. That helps us
All
pay
caps?
our rent.
Okay.
All caps,
All caps.
obviously. And we're on Twitter, Blood Sweat Brew. You can see what we're drinking. And someone told us that we need more
Yeah, we're on
Twitter
Twitter,
followers.
We do
So
gotta build
please
up,
follow
yeah.
us
Let's
on
beat
Twitter
these guys up,
and
yeah,
Brew
follow-
Gentlemen.
Yeah, it's 2015 for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Yep, and
Get
like,
those
and-
followers.
Get those
what's
Twitter
cool about this,
followers.
we've got 9 more days of craft beer awesomeness here in Pittsburgh to wrap up. So
Yeah, Craft Beer Week is now Craft Beer Week and a half. That's awesome.
yeah, it's awesome.
All right.
So
Cheers.
yeah, thanks.
All right,
guys.
kids.
Cheers, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, yes, yeah, congrats. We'll be down to see you guys for the wrap up here in a minute. Yeah. So, all right.
All right, shitbird. That was a good one.
I don't want to talk to you. No, good show, guys. So, again, you guys, Pittsburgh Craft Beer Week. This is a great kickoff. Having these guys sit down and take some time to talk about their movie. It was in all seriousness. I know we had some fun tonight and talked about all the fun stuff. Asa left his hat here. He'll want that back.
He lost his hat,
He
John.
lost his hat, Joe. So it was a great time. We're going to have this show live very soon. Obviously, if you're hearing this, it doesn't even make sense because it's live. So, to wrap up the show, they've already taken off. They're going to get down to the movie theater for their question and answer period. It was great having them on board. It was a good
Actually,
show,
there was a
and-
lot of things that we couldn't even get to because we were just kind of having
Yeah,
a good
I mean,
time.
honestly, yeah, we put together a little bit of a format for this show, which is totally unlike us to prepare for a podcast. Because
That's not true.
And have a couple beers. And
This
talk
one,
about
well,
all the good
listen,
stuff.
I got to say, I was not prepared for Mayor Fetterman to be here.
No, that was
and
that- no.
and I'm really happy he was because
Yeah, I mean, that was last minute. He came in. I asked him if he wanted to come sit down with us, and he was more than happy to do so. And I think that
This-
speaks a lot to everything
you don't
he's doing, and
understand this man.
He's awesome. It's
He
awesome.
is the revolting blob from Billy Madison, but
He's the most intelligent dude. we've talked to in a
intelligent
long
dude
time.
you will ever talk
But
to.
I'll tell you what, man. He, you know, listening to his parts in the movie and what he's done to help in that revitalization of Braddock. I mean, it all just paired perfectly to put
Yes.
the Brew Gentlemen coming in there. Everything they've done.
He's
to
taken
this
them under
point.
his wing,
I mean,
and he's made them the town of Braddock.
And one point,
it's awesome.
I know. We went in a lot of different directions tonight, and I know that there were 6 of us sitting at this table with Mayor Fetterman, and all 6 of us were not from Pittsburgh. So
Right. Oh yeah,
all
absolutely.
6 of
None
us
of us
are not from this town. However,
He bleeds
Jason and I
it.
have lived here for 12 years. Matt and Ace have been here for 3 or 4 years. Actually, I'll count their college years, so probably longer than that. But the point that I'm driving at is the fact that I feel at this point in my life that I'm a passionate Pittsburgher. I'm so about what this town can become, not just from a craft beer level, but from a just a level of growth and evolution as a whole.
Right.
That man sitting next to me for that podcast for 10 minutes
Lives and
has
bleeds it.
15104, the Braddock.
Yes, and actually, it's a
zip
really
code
good tattoo.
tattooed on his arm.
Looks awesome.
That speaks volumes to how much passion and care he has for revitalizing that area. And Matt and Asa are a big part of that revitalization.
And he's not revolting in any sense of the word. I'm just saying he's
he's
a pro wrestler. that man is a very intimidating dude, but he's great to listen to.
Yes,
he really does care for what he believes in, and he's one of a kind. It's crazy. You see this guy and you're like, there's no way this man is a mayor of a town, and he is, and he cares, and he does his job, and he works hard, and he's taken these guys under his wing, and he's helping them turn Braddock into what it should be versus what it is right now.
Absolutely right.
And it's really cool.
And the sky's the limit. There's so much room for growth, and again, that evolution is going to continue. And if craft beer is the
if that's what lifts them to the next level,
drives that growth, then God bless.
If Kevin Souza is thinking about opening restaurants,
and I know that
because
of
the craft beer,
that's huge.
Dude, I got to tell you, his restaurants are number one in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Salt of the Earth is apparently, as I found out tonight, he sold his steak or part of his steak.
I don't know much about
that place. Is one of the most revered restaurants in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. If he moves to Braddock, there's reasons to go to Braddock.
Absolutely,
other than Brew Gentlemen.
And there already is, and that's the thing. I mean, that's what you know. When you see the movie, you'll hear Asa say that a brewery will have an impact on a community. What that impact will be, we don't know yet.
We'll see,
and we're going to see exactly what happens, and we're already seeing it. You know.
Oh, by the way,
yes.
Going into the, and I don't know if they have done this yet or not, but the Pittsburgh Smokehouse, who does a lot of the food for Grist House.
Yes,
I would imagine they probably do some stuff for.
I know Tim quite well. I'm not quite sure if he's gotten into their market, but I know that he's wanted to, and I know that, and that's a big thing. That is, and his.
I'm gonna break. I think I'm breaking a story here, because I know Andy probably doesn't listen to my podcast, but Andy is one of the other. He's the co-founder of Pittsburgh Smokehouse.
Oh, okay.
He's buying a food truck.
Nice.
So there's going to be big things coming in the future for somebody who has the best barbecue sandwich in Pittsburgh.
That's awesome.
And they got some new sauces, and hopefully they show up at Brew Gentlemen. And I know some friends of mine who've been there. I've been there. And that place is going to mean big things for that town.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we all know if you've been down to Brew Gentlemen, you know that just their presence has impacted that whole community. So, we're going to wrap up by saying that the Blood, Sweat, and Beer movie that they're featured in, it premiered tonight. Obviously, if you didn't see it tonight, obviously this podcast is hopefully a good turn-on for that. And if you download the Pittsburgh Craft Beer Network mobile app, you're going to be able to see all the additional times with the special section I have set aside for Blood, Sweat, and Beer. All the additional screenings are going to be happening during the week. So get down to the Row House Cinema in Lawrenceville and check it out. To plug a little bit about what Jason and I have coming up over Pittsburgh Craft Beer Week. Sunday, we're going to be sitting down with Chris Dilla from Bachtown Beer and Grill. And we're going to be doing a special podcast to break down all of the collaboration beers that all the great breweries here in Pittsburgh put together for Pittsburgh Craft Beer Week. And next Sunday, the 26th, we're going to sit down with Nick Bogatz, the owner of Caliente Pizza and Draft House, during the Dogfish Head Tap Takeover they have going on to wrap up Craft Beer Week, and we're going to do a
double
podcast
boom
with him. So we got a lot of good stuff coming for you guys. I know we probably set you guys up for a lot of podcasting with the first one, and guess what? We got one more coming at you. So Beer Week's a good time. If you guys are listening to this and you haven't ventured out to see what's going on, there is a ton of good stuff going on in Pittsburgh. So get your ass off your seats and go out and check out everything that's going on in Pittsburgh. What do you got to say to wrap up, sir?
I don't have a whole lot other than this is the best week of the year as far as craft beer goes.
Indeed.
And it grew from barely 7 days to 10 plus a couple extra because tonight we're starting early. I think on the Pittsburgh Craft Beer Week website there's one on May 1st as well. There's something going on.
Yeah, that's
kind of carried over.
Well,
it's kind of 11 days now.
Yeah, I mean, and if you
God bless it.
And yeah, I mean, honestly, you look at what Caliente did. They started on Wednesday, and I was there, and I was like, okay, 12 days instead of 10, cool, I'm in.
This is no joke anymore.
This is it. I mean, this is really
like a little throwaway
thing. If you love
thing.
craft beer in Pittsburgh, this is what you want to be a part of. And if you don't go out every day, that's totally understandable. But there is stuff going on every single day, so get out, check it out. So we are
go to the Pittsburgh Craft Beer Network and order some T-shirts.
Yeah, I'll have some more stuff just to plug that real quick. I'm going to have some giveaways going on starting on Saturday, one through Facebook. We have a gift card from Caliente and from a free growler fill from Brew Gentlemen, our guests on the show tonight. Also with a Pittsburgh Craft Beer t-shirt. You'll see more of that tomorrow. Also on Twitter, we're going to have a giveaway as well. It's going to have a growler fill from Grist House and a gift card from Bachtown. So a lot of good stuff going on during Beer Week. Just pay attention to all the social media of Pittsburgh Craft Beer Network, and you'll see all about that. So we're going to wrap up right now. My name is Jason Cercone. Thank you very much for joining us for this special feature episode of Over a Couple of Beers. And my friend's got to plug his Twitter account. I know that.
Jason B. Collins on Twitter. And the C word was mentioned twice on this episode.
Oh my God. We're going to get canceled by no one.
Canceled by who?
No
Howard
one.
Stern? Okay.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Shout out to Ari Shafir.
Boom.